Hello and welcome to this video. Today we will have a look at the 12 most successful Unity games of all time. Remember, this video is from 2022, so everything after that will not be considered. Right now, the Unity game engine is unarguably one of the best game engines that we have today. It came out in the year 2005, so we will look at games from 2005 till 2022. Let's start with a game that shows you that sometimes all you need is a good idea and no high-end 3D models, no high-end visuals or graphics. Sometimes everything you need is a good idea. This game is an epic battle royale game that plays in a game show kind of scenario, and it was launched in 2020. Yes, we talk about Fall Guys. With over 10 million copies sold and attracting more than 50 million players after the game went free to play, Fall Guys was a huge success. Because the game developers team didn't thought the game would be so much of a success, they didn't coded the multiplayer code in a safe manner, which brought them some problems with hackers. But they were able to get a good recovery from that, and up to date the game is still played by more than 100,000 players per day. The next game that I want to show you is called Valheim. Valheim was released in early access on Steam in February 2021. Even though it still was in early access, Valheim was able to sell more than 5 million units within the first month of release. Now it reached more than 325,000 reviews on Steam and an all-time player peak of 502,000 players. In April 2020, the survival game announced that it sold over 10 million copies. For the next game, I want you to take a guess. I will just say more than 1 billion lifetime downloads, the most popular mobile game in the US of all time. So which game are we talking about? Yes, we are talking about Pokemon Go. And yes, Pokemon Go was created with the Unity engine. Pokemon Go was released in 2016. It is an AR mobile game that was developed by Niantic and is heavily influenced by Ingress. Even up to date, the game still generates more than 10 million downloads every quarter of a year. The next game is a party game that I would say is the most fun if you play it with a bunch of friends. The game was released in 2018 and later it gained huge popularity on Twitch. I think many of you already played Among Us, and I think many of you already had some fun with Among Us, and I think that's why it's a good example to show again that you don't always need these high-end visuals or high-end graphics to create a popular game. And with 9.1 million copies sold only on Steam, I think Among Us has earned itself to be described as popular. But let's not stop here, let's also talk about the mobile version. The mobile version was huge, 60 million daily active players during its peak in the late 2020, and Among Us has generated over $86 million in revenue on mobile since the launch in 2018. And no, it didn't stop there. After it was ported to Nintendo Switch, it sold over 3.2 million copies in the first month. And those were very impressive stats. But the next game that we talk about is also very impressive, as it won the Game Awards 2019 category Best Mobile Game. We talk about Call of Duty Mobile, which was released in 2019. And this game shows very impressively how you can achieve AAA graphics for mobile devices. After it was achieved with the Best Mobile Game Award, its journey of success was long away from an end, with topping a total of 650 million downloads in 2022. The next game is actually the most popular VR game ever, and yes, we talk about Beat Saber. Beat Saber was released in 2018 and has officially reached 4 million units sold in 2021. Oculus has also announced at this date that Beat Saber has sold over 40 million songs of paid DLCs, pushing the VR game's estimate revenue to $180 million. And this makes Beat Saber the #1 most sold VR game of all times. Next, I want to mention Cuphead. Cuphead was first shown in 2014 and was released in 2017. With over 1 million copies sold and $20 million revenue in its first 2 weeks, this game had a great start. Now the game has sold over 5 million times and is an absolute retro-style hit that caused nostalgia for many of their fans. The next game is one of the most popular survival games of all time. With an early access release in 2013 and a full release in 2018, this game sold over 12.5 million copies up to date. It has the same name like the programming language Rust. And sorry, I need to bring this joke, Rust was not programmed in Rust, no, Rust was developed in Unity. Well, for me as in German, saying that was an absolute tongue twister. Okay, but anyways, let's continue with Rust. There's another awesome fact about Rust that I want to tell you. With over 12.5 million copies sold, Rust saved itself a spot in the top 10 best-selling PC games of all time, with place 9 on this list. And this makes Rust the best sold PC game of all time that was created with the Unity engine. Our next contestant is another 2D game, and it is a real pearl of the indie game development scene. Hollow Knight is a 2D Metroidvania game that was released in 2017 for PC and 2018 for consoles. Hollow Knight sold over 3 million copies. A sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong, is aimed to be released before 12th of June 2023. Now we are finding our way to a game that was created by one of the biggest publishers out there with the Unity engine, and it is one of the most popular online card games ever. Do you know which game I'm talking about? Yes, I'm talking about Hearthstone. Hearthstone was created by Blizzard in the Unity engine and it was released in 2014. Hearthstone reached peaks of over 4.3 million active players per month across all platforms. At its peak, Hearthstone drove in over $800 million total revenue in 1 year. In 2021, Hearthstone was the 6th most popular game on Twitch based on all-time numbers of their views. The next game that I want to talk about is called Escape from Tarkov. Many of you may already know it, and that even though the game is still in development. Escape from Tarkov released a small alpha in 2016 and their closed beta in 2018. The game drove in approximately $200 million in sales in the year 2021, which estimates a profit of $40 million. The game reached 475,000 concurrent Twitch viewers in 2021 and over 200,000 concurrent players. I think this game is a really good example for how to make some good shooter mechanics and some really nice looking graphics in the Unity engine. And for the last title on our list, let's play this game one more time. For PC with 127 million lifetime downloads, it was very successful with between $2.3 billion and $3.5 billion in its first year. This game made more money in its first year than any other game. Which game am I talking about? And I think we all have a guess, and yes, it's Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact was released in 2020 and it created a global hype. And after it released its mobile title, Genshin Impact reached $3.7 billion in total player spending on mobile. It has been the third highest grossing mobile title globally since it launched in September 2020. So I think we all can agree that Genshin Impact was one of the most successful games that was created with the Unity game engine ever. And I think this is a great way to end this video. Welcome to the end of this video. Hit the subscribe button to stay updated. Also, if you need some high quality assets for your game or like our channel and want to support us, feel free to check out our assets at the Unity or Unreal Asset Store. You'll find the link to our store pages in the description. I hope you learned something new and see you next time.